Welcome to Sara Gonzales Unfiltered. Yes, it turns out we are making America great again, officially, and we are celebrating here on Sara Gonzales Unfiltered because it's been a long time coming and we've been in the trenches. Yes, thank you. A round of applause. That's for our live studio audience over there to the side. So we have been in the trenches for what feels like a billion years. In fact, it was only about 4. And I think a celebration is in order. And I'm so happy to be joined by Steve Deace, of course, host of The Steve Deace Show, which you can find right here on Blaze TV, along with wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you are subscribed. As well as, I can't believe you're back already, Ryan Walters, Oklahoma State Superintendent. Of all the days for you to be in town.
What a great day.
This is the one.
Excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You get water.
Just water.
Yes, but Steve.
I'm in between 75 heards, so I'm in.
Let's go. Let's go.
You bet.
So cheers, okay? Because this was, look, for all your criticisms that you could say of Donald Trump, and I know, Steve, you've had them.
I've had a few.
A little bit.
Yes.
I've had them too. For all the criticisms that you could give of this man, you can't deny that this moment is like unprecedented in American history, where you have this amazing comeback story and you're looking at all of the things that are happening to him and all of the ways in which he is, persecuted politically. He's impeached twice. He has a raid at his home where they rifle through his wife's drawers.
I actually forgot all about that.
Yeah.
There's been so many things.
That's what I'm saying.
Forgot about the fact they raided his house.
They raided his house. They're going through his son's stuff. They're going all of these unprecedented ways. They're engaging in lawfare against him. You've got 91 indictments. You've got 34 felony counts. You've got 2 assassination attempts. I mean, it's just all of these things leading to Donald Trump being the one to come out with this coalition, Make America Healthy Again, Tulsi Gabbard, Elon Musk, all of this coalition of people who just seemingly right at the right time came together and they're like, no, we're going to take this country to an unparalleled level. And it just, as you're looking at this, I think even the people, I'll let you tell me, Steve, even some who may have criticized Donald Trump and may have been on the fence at a certain point in time are like, no, he was the guy all along. It needed to be him.
I first of all, I just, before we were a broken country in a cold civil war with a social compact on the brink of national divorce, dudes just would have looked at a situation like this.
Yeah.
All right. And would have said, this is one of the most badass things I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah.
Okay. And just would have respected it, even if they hated him, disagreed with him, and said, tomorrow I'm going to try to metaphorically kill this guy and take his empire. But today I'm a pop a top.
Right.
All right, that's pretty badass.
Yeah.
Recognize the dude code has been affirmed down to every last syllable. I mean, this is the greatest American comeback since MacArthur returned to the Philippines. All right. I mean, there's just never been anything like this. And I think what will be fascinating to watch moving forward, and we have all kinds of time to talk about it then. I want to just enjoy the win for now myself. But we're now dealing with someone that I think on the right. On the left, they had Obama. But on the right, we have not had anyone with the level of political capital that Donald Trump now has. Yeah. And it will be fascinating to see what he will do with it and how he will navigate that moving forward. But for this ordeal to overcome assassins, bullets, other assassination attempts to put him in prison. And did you notice, by the way, today, the Department of Justice, they're going to wind these cases down now that he won. That's funny how that works. Right? Yeah. Okay, I mean, he technically still has a sentencing out there.
They were really important. They were really important.
Yes, this had to happen.
But,
yes, I mean, it's just the sheer level of guile, balls. I don't know what else to say. I mean, it is impressive, and I don't know how you cannot, on some level, even if you're like, man, I hate that SOB, but damn, I respect that.
Right.
I don't know how you could not.
Yeah.
And I think in the process that you mentioned, the Make America Healthy Again too. This is it's funny, and I said this last night. I mean, one of the big issues I had in this last primary is what happened during COVID, and it destroyed its presidency and And what was funny, though, is now we've come full circle in that the coalition of people, a lot of the people you mentioned are people I connected with and got to know that I previously did not and did not run in circles with or have any connection to. And we suddenly all start finding each other, as this ragtag group of people pushing back on the COVID narrative. Well, that's funny. That's the issue that destroyed Trump's first presidency. Right. And that's the coalition now that came together to give him a second presidency. Yep. So that's even come full circle as well. And I'm not against using this language, guys. I just want to make sure we don't toss it around cavalierly. But it does seem as if it is fate, like it was always meant to go this way.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny because the day before the election, Monday, it was like my final plea to America. Please, I get it. I know why you wanted DeSantis. I love the guy too, right? And he's great. He's amazing. I can't say enough good things about him. But we have to look at the future of our country. And one of the things that I said was, maybe you want a personal apology for COVID. I get it. You want a personal apology. Fine. You know what? He did something way better. You may or may not have believed that personal apology that he would have given you. He did something way better. He said he's going to put RFK Jr. in charge of the health departments. If that isn't way better than a personal apology, I don't know what you're looking for. I don't know what you're looking for here. Ryan, what are your thoughts?
I do think it is just incredibly unique when you take a step back and look at what just happened last night. First of all, to your point, look at what this president's been through. Look at the campaign that he's run. It's truly remarkable. And you can go all the way back to the assassination attempt, the 91 indictments. But you can also go through the amount of access we just had to the president over the last few months. I've heard you, Steve, talk about, we're finding out new things about him because he sat down with podcasters for 3 hours. I got to hear him intimately describe his economic policy and where it came from his old business deals. This man. Yeah. Inside and out now. He gave you unprecedented access. You have all these events that occur. And then you look at historically, I got to watch the election with my kids last night. Got to talk to them a little bit about it this morning. And their eyes are still so big of, this guy's larger than life. This is a historical moment that your kids will never forget, but this will be this moment in these history books of, you have Andrew Jackson, you've got some of these figures that just seem larger than life when you read about them. We've lived this in real time with a strong leader who stood on convictions, who had these moments that happened that if it was a movie, you would go, not all the same guy. Like, surely they combined three different presidents into one. This is one campaign. And I think it has really unified the American people behind what bold leadership can look like, what someone who's just bared it all to the public to say, this is who I am, this is what I believe. And I think that you've seen this history in the making last night.
Yeah. Really a sight to see. So my parents were watching my kids and I got home really, really late. And my mom had just so happened to come downstairs and I was talking to her and she said, well, how was his victory speech? And I was like, it was incredible. It was great. It was anything that I would have asked for. It was presidential. There was no gloating. There was no me. It was totally unifying and what you would want and expect in a leader at this point in time. I think we have a montage of that. Let's watch.
Well, I want to thank you all very much. This is great. These are our friends. We have thousands of friends on this incredible movement. This was a movement like nobody's ever seen before. And frankly, this was, I believe, the greatest political movement of all time. There's never been anything like this in this country and maybe beyond. We overcame obstacles that nobody thought possible, and it is now clear that we've achieved the most incredible political thing. Look what happened. Is this crazy? But it's a political victory that our country has never seen before, nothing like this. I want to thank the American people for the extraordinary honor of being elected your 47th president and your 45th president. And every citizen, I will fight for you, for your family, and your future. Every single day, I will be fighting for you, and with every breath in my body, I will not rest until we have delivered the strong, safe, and prosperous America that our children deserve and that you deserve. This will truly be the golden age of America. This will forever be remembered as the day the American people regained control of their country. These are hardworking people. These are fantastic people, and we can add a few names like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He came in. And he's going to help make America healthy again. Now, he's a great guy, and he really means it. He wants to do some things, and we're going to let him go to it. I just said, but Bobby, leave the oil to me. We have more liquid gold, oil and gas. We have more liquid gold than any country in the world, more than Saudi Arabia. We have more than Russia. Bobby, stay away from the liquid gold. Other than that, go have a good time, Bobby. His campaign has been so historic in so many ways. We've built the biggest, the broadest, the most unified coalition.
Oh, man.
They've never seen anything like it in all of American history. They've never seen it. Young and old, men and women, rural and urban. And we had them all helping us. We're going to make our country better than it ever has been. And I said that many people have told me that God spared my life for a reason.
I literally have chills.
And that reason was to save our country and to restore America to greatness. And now we are going to fulfill that mission together. We're going to fulfill that mission.
Whew, I have chills from, I already watched it, and I have chills from rewatching it. I just, totally presidential in that moment. Now, I want to go through some of the particulars, especially while I have someone like Steve here, who's way smarter than me on all of this. And
I'm just a nerd.
Well, I'm a nerd too, but you're a smarter nerd than me. So I have Decision Desk pulled up, and now they haven't officially called Arizona yet, but Arizona's going. They're going to Trump.
How long does it take? Arizona's retarded. How long does it take to count votes? It's one of the richest states in the country. Maricopa County is one of the richest counties in America. People with fortunes retire there. Mm-hmm. How freaking long does it take? They even have an extra hour from the rest of the country of time. How long does it freaking take to count the votes in Arizona, man?
67% in, too. Only 67%. But Donald Trump's going to get Arizona, and then he will have gotten all 7 swing states. Right now, without Arizona, it's 301 electoral votes for Donald Trump, 226 for Harris, and Trump won white women outright. I know that was a big, a big talking point was how many women were showing up to the polls, how many women were energized. And this is what I tried to temper everyone with, just like, you're walking into that assuming that every single woman who is showing up to the polls is showing up to vote on the issue of abortion. And that is just not true in this economy. In this Joe Biden age, where you have women, mothers who are worried about their children's safety, who are worried about putting food on their table, you cannot assume that every single white woman who walks into that polling place is casting their vote for Kamala Harris based on their right to kill her own child. That turned out to be correct. Anyway, with white women, 5 points, 1 white woman, 1 white man by 20 points, Latino men, this says by 11, and he got, 45% of the Hispanic vote overall. Mm-hmm. His support among Latino men jumped from 36 to 54%, and he also gained ground with black voters in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and beyond. And so you just see all of this. I mean, we were going through it last night, Steve. It was like, even in the heavily Democrat areas, it would go from, D33 to like D12, right? So like D plus 33 to D plus 12. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's still Democrat, but man, he's making a lot of headway in all of these areas. It was just everywhere across the board. You saw, you know what? I guess Americans aren't buying the lies from the left anymore.
Ryan mentioned this a minute ago. I think the smartest strategic decision that was made in this campaign, and I wasn't sure who made it. And then Trump said a few days ago, actually, Barron suggested it. All right. But whoever it is, whether he just wants to pimp his son as the next generation or it's legit, I don't know. But whoever convinced him to go on these long form podcasts. Mm-hmm. And, I don't want to make it about me, but I'm going to make it about me. One of the big struggles I had from the beginning with Donald Trump, as someone that was one of the first people he ever came to when he wanted to run for president, is I saw a guy who was clearly a narcissist, but very likable, was also very detailed, very smart, knew the issues, and I mean, knew facts and figures. Yeah. And you know me, I want to have an intellectual conversation. He was more than capable of doing that. Was very engaging. I watched up close and personal. I was curious, hey, how's this guy, a billionaire from New York with the gold-plated toilet on his plane? How is he going to interact with these Iowans? Could not have been friendlier, could not have been more engaging. It did not, even though he's a legendary germaphobe, could not have shaken more hands and hugged more people. And then when we got into the primary and the competition started, I didn't see as much of that. And that kind of bothered me. I wasn't sure, well, is he this thoughtful guy, or is it the improv night of insults on the stage? And what I've seen the last few months is for the first time since I first got to know him, is that guy. I mean, the interview with Rogan where he goes in depth on fourth level details on windmill technology. Yeah. Okay. I mean, and the stuff with, I didn't even know who Theo Von and Andrew Schultz were. I didn't know who they were. Oh, I found out who they were from Donald Trump. Okay.
Wow.
But I think it was Andrew Schultz who asked him about Don Jr. telling him the story about how he threw a party against his dad's wishes and he came home early and crap hit the fan. All right. Stuff like that. And Ryan is so correct. The humanizing of him. And I think what you saw in this campaign at the end, and whether you are, as MAGA gets, whether you're MAGA adjacent, whether you're, well, I'm not a communist, so I voted for him. Right. Right. Wherever you're at on the spectrum of right of center America, this is before he even takes office again and commits to any policy. The long-standing victory that he has given us that we can take advantage of in the future is he finally was able to he broke the media fourth wall before, but the stigmatization now of, well, you can only believe these things and be a racist. You can only believe these things and be a homophobe. You can only believe these things and be the worst, most, knuckle dragger of human society. He went in there almost evangelistically into all of these long-form conversations, and maybe you still didn't agree with the specifics of what he was saying, but you didn't come away from that thinking, okay, this guy's not literally Hitler, guys. Right. This guy's not a Nazi. Right. Right? His followers aren't insurgents. Yeah. Okay. And it was little things like Nick Bosa and the 49er game on Sunday Night Football, wearing the hat. Yes. All right. People coming out, Pat Mahomes' mom it was very clear that everybody admitted now their narrative, the emperor has no clothes. And he did chart a path for us moving forward because he's 78. So this isn't going to be a long-term arrangement, right? At his age, you're not buying green bananas, okay? So as those of us who are now going to pick up the mantle after the trail that he's blazed, what do we do next? You follow the playbook of how he was able to take their entire narrative of who we are and destroy it.
Yeah, I was also heartened, Ryan. I look at the younger generation and I'm like, Are we gonna make it? Because I see major problems. But according to our stats that we have here, first-time voters, Trump boosted his support from 32% 4 years ago to 52%, 54% majority. That's encouraging to me.
And look, this is what a mandate looks like. I mean, you look at all these numbers, as you pointed out, across the board, the success that President Trump had. Steve talked about the podcast. I also want to talk about, Kamala Harris hid for months, and I turn on the news every Sunday. J.D. Vance is doing interviews, tough interviews, defending every part of their policy agenda. They roll out a policy agenda. President Trump is doing these hard interviews, and you go, not only did they lay out a policy agenda, I mean, he literally tells you RFK is going to be in charge of our health policy. I mean, he walks you through, this is what I'm going to do. And he went out there and defended it for month after month, hard interview after hard interview. And look at the electoral success. This is a mandate of the Trump vision for America. This is a Make America Great Again mandate moving forward. The voters spoke loudly and clearly. And again, to your point on the youngest generation, look, I've got to give President Trump a lot of credit for this. Because, again, as being the education guy, you hear this all the time, right? Oh, kids, they can't understand certain things, shrink things down, simplify them. They only have an attention span for 5 or 10 minutes. Well, some of these podcasters, they go on there for 3 hours and have millions and millions of listeners. And President Trump goes, against probably a lot of advice that a lot of politicos give him. No. Be real scripted, 3 to 5 minutes. No, cut them off real quick. Remember, what was it? Was it Brett Baer who said, hey, Kamala's team is saying, hey, we got to go.
We got to wrap.
Yeah. He sits there and Rogan says, I'm making him late for a rally.
Yeah.
I know I am. And he sits there for 3 hours to give that access. And again, young people are eating it up. They're going, I get unprecedented access. I get to hear these thoughts. So I think he did an incredible job of communicating to everyone across the board, but especially to this generation to go, yeah, absolutely. You can have this access. We'll walk you through it. And again, as Steve pointed out, it humanized him, but it also brought forth an agenda full circle of why he's doing the things he's doing.
Yeah. I just love to see it. All right, I know we got to take a break here, but I do want to bring up before we do that, I want to get to leftist meltdowns because that's my thing. All right, that's my jam. But before we do that, it's kind of in the same vein here. I was reading a lot of leftists on social media who they just couldn't understand it. They said, something's fishy's going on here. There's something fishy going on. Because where did all the votes go? Because Joe Biden last time...
You don't say.
Yeah,
where did all the votes go? Because I was saying that on one of these stages 4 years ago.
Exactly.
Where'd all these votes come from?
Exactly.
And now I'm asking where'd they all go?
Right. They're like,
yes.
She needs a recount. She should demand a recount because where did all these votes go? There were 81 million last time, and now it's way lower. What are you talking about? Let's pull up that... there's a chart here. So of the last 4 presidential cycles, and you will see something very strange.
These things is not like the other.
Very strange about the 2020 Democrat vote there, which is sky high. Also happened to be the same time that we had mail-in ballots, that we had all the COVID rules, that we had evidence of people stuffing all of the drop boxes. And all of us questioned for 4 freaking years, hey, maybe this wasn't legit. There it is right there. This is for me. I'm like, this is total vindication. As far as I'm concerned, YouTube can take that effing. You're a state official, so I'm not going to swear. They can take that effing stupid little caution thing that they put anytime we talk about the 2020 election. Actually, Wikipedia says that everything was legit. You look at that chart and tell me. You tell me.
You're more forgiving than me, because the censorship you speak of has probably cost me conservatively 6 figures of income that I have lost by being censored from calling this out from the beginning of election night 4 years ago. Right. So I guess I'll take the vindication, but I'm not nearly as evil, or I'm not nearly as eager to forgive.
Oh, you're right.
Because I mean, that's
I'm not forgiving.
That's a lot of family vacations and gifts for the wife that nobody got because of the amount of censoring I received for asking these kinds of questions. So, but I hear you.
Yeah. The lack of self-awareness, Ryan, of the left to be like, well, I don't understand where these votes went. The votes that were unprecedented, more votes than Barack Obama and the safest and most secure. I'm like, do you hear yourself?
They get away with the most outrageous lies. Yeah. They never get pushed. They never go into any audiences where they're pushed. They say it, and then, they think they've got a great hot take, and you're going... Guys, do you hear yourself? I know that
it doesn't mean what you think it means.
Exactly. This isn't. You think you're owning us here with? But again, they are so in an echo chamber. Mm-hmm. They get away with it. They never do any kind of back and forth. It just shows you how out of step they are with the American people, with common sense. I talked to so many people across the country, with this election heading forward. And talk about President Trump. These are just common sense things. We can't believe that these are the fights that we're having. But when you see some of these leftists and the way they respond, you go, yeah, absolutely. They are in such a bizarro land that, common sense absolutely rattles their worldview.
Yeah, it's really sad to see. Okay, we got to take a quick break. We'll be back with more. But I want to thank our sponsor of this segment, Jace Medical. So I know I'm hard on Big Pharma, okay? But if there's one thing for certain, there is a place for Western medicine, especially when you're talking about life-saving, antibiotics, life-saving medications. And all the time we talk about emergency food, but we don't typically talk about emergency medicine. But the fact of the matter is, if you want to be prepared in times of uncertainty, in times of, emergency, you also need this emergency medicine. So go check out Jace. They've got the Jace case, and they're going to give you 5 essential life-saving antibiotics. On top of that, you can go to their website. You can customize it. So you can get, if you want ivermectin, if you guys need ivermectin, get it. If you need an EpiPen because someone in your family has a deadly allergy, an allergic reaction, go get it. All right. Customize it to your family's needs, but just make sure that you have it. You can do that by going to jace.com. Enter promo code Sarah for a discount on your order. That is JASE.com. Promo code Sarah. Well, when we talk about meltdowns from the left. Like we have to keep a close eye on the view.
Out.
You will? Okay. All right, good. I am so in. I've been waiting for this freaking moment. These people have called us Nazis, fascists, extremists, domestic terrorists, you name it. And
We are
now,
extremists. If we're being honest, we at least have to own that. That part's probably true.
I actually love Matt Walsh. I saw one of them, but there are a lot of people who are like, all right, can we just admit that Project 2025 is a thing and we're doing it? Just to make
That'd be hilarious if actually Trump even didn't mean it. Just hashtag 2025, Project 2025. That would be a phenomenal troll.
Yeah. That thing that they were melting down about that they said was going to send them back to the Handmaid's Tale.
It's on hashtag Project 2025.
Yes. So, well, this is basically how they're acting over on mainstream media. So let's take a look over at The View. Here, let's go to Sunny Hostin, who had some concerns, I would say, about this victory watch.
I think our healthcare system is now at risk. I think
no fluoride for anyone.
Yeah, economists have made clear that
all in black,
he's going to increase the debt by $7.75 trillion. I'm worried about mass deportation and internment camps, and I'm also worried about Elon Musk warning Americans to prepare for temporary hardship. I'm surprised at the result, but I'm not surprised. As a woman of color, I was so hopeful that a mixed-race woman married to a Jewish guy could be elected president of this country. And I think that it had nothing to do with policy. I think this was a referendum of cultural resentment in this country.
So she agrees, by the way, with Joy Reid. I don't know if you guys saw Joy Reid last night. She was like, white women had the opportunity to finally pick a woman, but they didn't because that woman was black, was basically her insinuation. Let me play this one more clip from The View here. They're talking about, free speech and how much that is to blame, I guess, for Kamala's loss. Watch.
Think critically.
Well, it would help if we could regulate social media, because one of the biggest offenders is DC and Congress have not been able to do one thing in regard to the rogue corporations of social
get
media.
any better with Elon Musk now in the administration. I want
the rogue corporations in social media. The rogue. So what does that mean? What does the term rogue mean? Of course, it means you are not toting the government narrative. That's what it means. It doesn't. Notice she didn't say it was false. She didn't say it was a lie. She said rogue. We can't have you going rogue. We need you in line with us, spewing our talking points. And if not, you are a danger to our democracy is what, now we don't have one, but that's what they're saying there, right? You're a danger to our democracy because you dare share the truth. And that is actually the real problem. It's not that Kamala was brain dead. It's not that there's nothing going on up here. It's not that she was a terrible candidate who couldn't sit for 5 minutes for an interview. It's Elon Musk's fault. That's the takeaway here from the left. Gentlemen.
In a way it is, in that they would have had a much easier time of hiding all those things from us.
Yep.
If not for Elon Musk. I mean, I think he is the Johannes Gutenberg of the 21st century. I mean, the difference between if you know church history, the difference between a John Wycliffe and a Martin Luther is one had a printing press so he could get his message out, and the other one didn't. So one got burned at the stake and then his ashes dug up and burnt again, and the other guy, reshaped Western civilization. So, I mean, the reality is Donald Trump doesn't win re-election without Elon Musk.
Yeah.
I mean, but
it's not because he
put his thumb on the scale.
Right. Ran cover for him, lied. Exactly.
He really only got actively campaigning here down the stretch. Up until then, just the idea that the largest platform for political content and speech in the world would be a free platform. The fact that we could push back on their narratives out in the open without fear of reprisal and make them have to answer for them. That I think is incalculable. And what they're really saying there, Ryan, is freedom is our enemy. Yeah. I mean, to save democracy, we need to put Trump in prison. We need to jail his supporters. We need to take free speech away. We need to censor you. And then we have saved our precious democracy. That's essentially what they're saying. Which
is so interesting because that tracks with what they were saying before Donald Trump won. That tracks with what Hillary Clinton went out and said. We need to get a handle on this disinformation. John Kerry was saying it. I mean, they were already setting up the building blocks to say we need to do something about this Elon Musk problem.
Yeah, I mean, I like how you said that. Great job of picking up on it wasn't false, it was rogue. Look, we run the media around here. That's how that works, right? The Democrats are, no, you are a propaganda arm for our party. you can't let people just post what they think. You can't let, other news organizations emerge and you can just go online and watch. And so it's just amazing to watch it because the left had such control that there was this, Overton window of this is what we're going to talk about this election season. Only this right here. Nothing else. And by the way, if you do, we'll censor you. It is unbelievable. I loved your comparison there, Steve, of Elon Musk has opened up so many doors for so many ideas to now be brought to the forefront, and actually you're forced to engage upon them. And again, to watch the left and Kamala retract and go, well, I'm not going to do any of these shows anymore. I'm not going to do any of these interviews because, frankly, as we know, Twitter's even pushed so much of the narrative that now the mainstream media almost has to cover some of these topics. It's like they get out there so much that now when you go on NBC, look, it's in the tank. We know what they're going to do. But you know what? They might have to ask me about some of these topics that have been covered by everyone else. It is truly amazing what has happened now with the free ideas being out in the open on Twitter.
Yeah, which is why it was just so great to. What did Elon say last night? You are the media now. Was what he posted on X. It was just so perfect. All right, let's go to some of the leftist meltdowns on social media. Maybe some of those are on X. I don't know. They're probably not. They're probably on TikTok. Let's play this first one here. I would not say that she's very stable. Watch.
I'm sorry. No. Why? Why? Do you really hate me that
bad? Ma'am, this is a Wendy's. So I think we've got a little bit of another montage here to check out of Democrat meltdowns. Watch.
We may not have rights tomorrow.
Imagine crying over not being allowed potentially to kill your own baby.
Disney Plus.
Why are you crying,
No one
dude?
else having a meltdown. I don't know how to do this. Right now, I'm just not. I can't deal with right now. I am 48 years old and I have never experienced anything like this. I never thought I would in this country. No, wait, I'm so stressed. I don't know how to handle this. I don't know how to get through the next couple days.
What do you mean? Like, get in, loser. We're saving the country. Stop crying about it. And I will just say, I'll say it in case maybe you guys don't want to. All of them looked exactly how you would expect. I mean, you don't look at any of those and go, that didn't strike me as a Kamala voter. You just knew. You just know when you see them. Yeah, yep, that's about right. And they just don't know what they're going to do with themselves in this golden age for America. Because things are going so well right now. They just can't imagine.
You're right. We're going to let you say that. But you know what? Here's what we're going to do to these poor people. All right. We're going to go ahead, Ryan, and we're going to go ahead and cut their taxes too. All right. and we're going to further seek retribution for their disloyalty to the MAGA agenda. We're going to secure their borders too. All right. And then when we're done doing all that to them, and if they clearly have not yet gotten the autocratic message, if they clearly still refuse to kneel before Zod, we're going to go into their cities where they live, and we're going to find the criminals on their streets, and we're going to put them in prison so that they don't harm them. And that is how we plan to extract a large measure of justice and vengeance against such usurpers against King Trump. That's what we're going to do.
Ryan.
I don't know how you follow that up, but I mean, I will say it is amazing at what are the fear tactics of the left here. You go, what are you scared of? Again, as Steve just laid out there, we have seen wokeism is absolutely a mind virus. You see it right here and how much it just breaks people down of, hold on a second. And as you guys know, when you engage some of these voters, you go, let's talk through this. And emotions go through the roof and you start talking through it and you go, guys, I understand you might not agree, but where is this emotion coming from? And you see it right here of just I mean, the fear tactics the left has been able to get through to their base, it's pretty remarkable.
Yeah, it really is. Well, especially when, I know we got to go to break here, but especially when, we talked about this last night, Steve, there was a man, I think it was CNN exit interview.
Oh, yeah.
And he started crying. He was like choked up because the thought of his daughter not having the right to kill her own baby eventually was so upsetting.
His grandchild.
His grandchild was so upsetting to him. He just couldn't even fathom it. And I'm like, this is demonic. I want no part of this. So I would imagine that that's what these women are crying about. Because otherwise, this is all positive. So it's very, very strange to see. All right, let's go ahead and end on, I saw it earlier, so you also have to. This is a white dude for Harris getting a little bit upset, and he does something that just nobody wants to see. Watch.
I can't believe Trump's actually going to win this thing. Oh, Jesus Christ, I'm so pissed off.
Well, we're talking about the presidential victory, but I want to make sure that we hit on the overall victories, right? Because it was we were getting in the weeds overnight and we weren't sure, are we going to keep the House? It now appears as of the time of this taping, just to be clear, as of the time of this taping, that we are going to. I
think Arizona counted one vote while we were taping this episode. I just got an alert.
It was just the one.
Arizona counted a vote.
It was just the one.
Confirmed.
Yeah.
Right.
So we're at 210 Republicans in the House right now and 194 for Democrats. But the projection is that the Republicans will keep the House and also flip the Senate. What was it? 55?
Looks like 55. I
55
predicted
in the
54
Senate.
and everybody laughed at me, but it looks like it might be 55.
Yeah, 55. And also of note, just because we are here in the state of Texas and somehow people around the country want to get invested in the Texas Senate races, like Texas is going to turn blue. I will say, I hate being wrong. I'm okay being wrong with this one. I thought that Colin Allred would only lose by 4 or 5 points. He actually ended up losing by like 8 or 9. I believe it was 9.
See what happened is all those Hispanic border areas went heavily for Cruz at the end of the night.
Yes. Which, well, and I mean, to me, that wasn't the only telltale sign for all the money that they invested. And I know Chuck Schumer dumped a bunch of money in this race to try to oust Ted Cruz, but you saw the difference between the Allred likability factor and the Beto likability factor. And I mean, I can't stand Beto, but Texas loved him. Mm-hmm. He only lost by 2 points here. You didn't see the enthusiasm for Beto that you saw. I'm sorry, you didn't see the enthusiasm for Colin that you saw for Beto. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, there's no way. People kept thinking, oh my gosh, he's going to do it. No way. And of course, that is that's done. That's done. Go ahead.
I will just say, I do love that the left throws everything they can at Ted Cruz.
Yeah.
His rock star status continues. He has continued to beat all comers. They spend all this money against him. The establishment won't lift a finger to help Senator Cruz, undermines him every step of the way. He continues being a rock star for conservatism here in the state of Texas. So I thought that was huge last night.
Yeah. It is great. I mean, I'm not like crying about Chuck Schumer dumping $100 million into the race just for them to lose, right? I mean, every single commercial break here, every single football game.
Neither are major market television executives in the state of Texas. Right. They're very happy about it.
They're collecting the check and going, oh my, I think this is going to change voters' minds.
Will indeed be a Merry Christmas in the state of Texas. Thank you, Chuck Schumer. Indeed.
But there were also on the ballot, there were states that passed a constitutional amendment to ban non-citizens from voting, and it was 8 states that brought the measure to vote. All 8 passed it. Idaho, Iowa, Steve, Kentucky, Missouri, North Carolina, Oklahoma, South Carolina, and Wisconsin.
Almost like people didn't trust what happened in the last election, despite its...
What are you talking about? 81 million votes?
The safest and securest election ever.
Weird. Yeah. Insert the YouTube caution right here as you're watching this. There it is.
Or that graphic for that.
There it is. Yes. There it is, right there. No, what are you talking about?
You know what happened? Here's what happened, Sarah, and you'll appreciate this. We lost those 17 million people because they all died in the winter of the unvaccinated. That's what happened. They all died in the winter of the unvaccinated, the winter of 2021. That's how many people died for not taking the experimental toxic genetic serum. And now you'll need to use another YouTube advisory.
Yes, yeah. Thank you for that, Steve.
So now two.
We're going double YouTube advisories.
You can now have a family. Your YouTube advisories can make a family now. Yes.
Well, with the two of us together, it's honestly this is probably just going to get blown up on the internet. You will no longer be able to watch this program because they're just going to delete
It's a giant black bar, and then Ryan talks. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Until Ryan can, and that's coming, Ryan. That's coming. You're an enemy of the left because you're anti-woke.
Yeah, I mean,
that's coming.
Being on here with both of you guys, I've got a few more targets on my back, but I'm happy to take them on to be in your company. Absolutely. It's
so funny whenever I have state lawmakers. I mean, I know a lot of state lawmakers here in the state of Texas, so I'll use that as an example, and they'll come on my program, and I'm like, "Welcome to the show, my friend," and then I'm like, I hope it's okay that I call you my friend because I already did publicly. Sorry about that. But yeah, I mean, it just turns out that Americans are not too keen on, this is something that when I went to the state of Michigan and I did this documentary here at Blaze, I went and talked to young black people. I talked to older people, older white people. I talked to everyone, and across the board, everyone agreed you should have to prove who you say you are when you go vote. Our voting mechanisms should be safe and secure. We should not be allowing people who should not be voting in the process, allow them to take part in this. This is
Kamala Harris didn't win a single state that requires photo ID to vote.
Really?
Didn't win a single state that did.
Interesting. Wow. And by the way, I think I when I was talking about this previously, I had said in the state of Michigan, you can vote on election day without ID. And people were like, actually, I had to show ID. Well, no, because the thing is, you can actually register to vote the same day. And when you register to vote the same day, if you don't have a photo ID, you just have to sign an affidavit saying, I pinky promise that I am who I say I am. And they have to allow you to vote. So yeah, you already registered to vote and you show your ID. But if you have not already registered, you can do that on election day, despite the fact that if you have to go to the library, you want to check out a library book in the state of Michigan, you have to show a photo ID before you get an actual library card. Ryan.
Pinky promises
What's
upheld,
the world coming to when someone doesn't uphold a super duper pinky promise?
That's the most devastating part here. But, it is, yes, voters want to know that there is going to actually be voter integrity in an election. Again, we are in a constitutional republic. This only continues to exist. We only continue to have faith in outcomes of elections if we actually protect them like we do everything else that we require an ID for. And again, frankly, all of the identity politics of the left, it's amazing when you start breaking down on issues like this. Guess what? Magically, people of all races, all backgrounds, all ethnicities go, yeah, actually, this makes sense. And there's really only one explanation for it. As Steve pointed out, the areas that don't have this are the areas that voted for Kamala Harris. It is absolutely, there's no other explanation other than they are absolutely trying to steal elections.
I saw Joe Rogan get John Fetterman to admit.
He admitted it.
That the only reason that you do that is just so you can have people that aren't legal vote.
Yeah, which was, I know that was a huge moment to hear that come out of John Fetterman's mouth of all people. All right, we got to take a quick break. We'll be right back. So Kamala Harris, of course, finally gave somewhat of a concession speech over at her alma mater, Howard University. Now, it was an interesting chain of events because last night, very quiet, didn't say a word. They had this crowd waiting for her, and they actually had one of her campaign staffers who had to come up to the mic and say, she go home, which was very strange that she wouldn't even speak. And it makes you wonder what was going on there. I can speculate, and I will. But whatever the case, she did call Donald Trump earlier today. Apparently she conceded by phone and, it was a pleasant conversation, reports say. And by the way, here's a note. She was 20 minutes late to her own speech today to give this concession. Here was some of that. Watch.
Now I know folks are feeling and experiencing a range of emotions right now. I get it. But we must accept the results of this election. Earlier today, I spoke with President-elect Trump and congratulated him on his victory. I also told him that we will help him and his team with their transition, and that we will engage in a peaceful transfer of power.
So a couple things of note here. It's interesting because now all of a sudden she's like, no, I mean, he won fair and square, and we need to acknowledge that. Well, you didn't acknowledge it last night. So were you too drunk, or were you waiting to find out if you guys could figure out how you could find the votes? And I say find the votes very intentionally because remember, Donald Trump was charged for making that same statement. But in this way, I mean it a lot differently. So was it that? Or was it just that she was too upset? She was too overwhelmed. What was it? Because it's very strange to hear her be so intentionally go along to get along. It's going to be peaceful. We're going to do this the nice way. Well, how do you square that with what happened last night?
Why would you want a peaceful transfer of power with literally Hitler?
Right. It's a great point.
Why would you concede it all to fascism?
Mm-hmm.
I think that ultimately they either believe these talking points, which is devastating in its own right, or they don't, but they are so craven for power that they will cynically, nihilistically inject that venom and poison into our cultural lexicon and pit us against one another. Mm-hmm. And they'll step over the collateral damage that does. Just one example, real quick. Amy texted me last night after Trump wins, and she goes, I hope you don't mind you're not home. We had families bypass us on trick or treat when they signed when we all saw it, when we saw the Trump sign in the yard. She goes, I just went out the yard. I'm sure it's fine in our suburb, but I just took the Trump sign out of the yard. You're not home. I wasn't sure how all the people were going to react with the Kamala signs. Yeah. That is an anecdotal cost of the venom these people spew into this culture. Right. And so it's almost worse if they don't mean it. Yeah. It's almost worse if they don't mean it, Ryan, that they're so craven for power, they're willing to cynically use such poisonous language to then just turn around and say, all right, guys, time for the peaceful transfer of power, and we'll help him out if he needs it. And we'll see y'all in 4 years. Let's do it again. Mm-hmm. That is just a terrible way to live together in this country.
Yeah, Ryan.
I think I don't know which is worse. And again, it's kind of like you said. Now it's okay. Let's go back to playing the game that we always play here. And it's just it's sick. But President Trump now, he crushed Joe Biden, literally knocked him out of the race. They then do this coup of we're gonna do something. We're just gonna throw her out there. The media will never push her. We'll just try to win an election this way. We'll see what happens. And President Trump crushed Kamala as well. She wasn't ready. The reality is she wasn't ready for prime time. They rushed her through the whole thing. But they threw everything they could at President Trump. President Trump was able to defeat him. President Trump is moving forward with a mandate like one we haven't seen in American history. It is an exciting time to be an American. It is an exciting time. And I love the golden age reference he made last night. Again, there's so much imagery in the campaign, whether it's him working at McDonald's, whether it's him on the campaign. But you see somebody that understands America, understands where Americans hope the country gets back to. And I'm telling you, what an amazing day. Yeah. And to be moving on from Kamala and knowing that President Trump will be back in the White House, I know so many Americans are so excited.
Yeah, because honestly, if I had to listen to that laugh for 4 years, I'm not making it. I just don't make it. I jump off a bridge. I don't know, but I just would not.
You wouldn't have to hear it from the cell you would be in.
Exactly. Yeah, that's true.
The only laughing you'd hear is your hysterical isolation.
That's a great point.
Lost your mind.
Yeah.
The same four walls.
That's a great point. And I had said, the gulags wouldn't be so bad as long as I was bunked with you guys, right? If I was bunked with my friends, we could have some fun. By the way, real quick, I'm going to put out a theory here. I think Kamala is saying that she wants it to be peaceful, and she's going to leave it to people like Jamie Raskin to try to ruffle some feathers and say, I played nice. What are you talking about?
A long 70 plus days to the inauguration.
Amen.
It can happen.
These guys.